I thought we were really, played really hard. We're efficient on third down. We executed at a really high clip, get off the field scenarios, and then like you said, guys affected the quarterback, and then made plays on the quarterback, made plays on the football. So yeah, I thought it was a really good team win for us all the way around, and definitely still got a lot of areas to improve on, but it's also really good to see some of the young guys get out there and be able to play, make plays at a high level. Was really good to see as well. Guys like Shivers getting some reps, obviously Man playing really well, Sael getting in there late and doing some good things. So I think there's a lot of positive things we can keep building off of last week.
Ahmad Moses getting some national recognition now. Just in your eyes, what have you seen from him this season? He seems like he's been a leader on this defense.
Well, I think you hit the biggest thing is accountability, how he practices. After the Baylor game, I sat in my office for, I don't know, 7 hours, and it seemed like, and Ahmad came up and wanted to meet with me right away, and just, Coach, I got to be better, and took ownership of the areas that he wanted to improve on. I've got to practice better. I got to be more coachable. Some of those things, and you've really seen from that game him, play at a level that we know he's accustomed to, and at a very consistent level. But I think the thing that you don't see with Ahmad is how he practices week in and week out, and the effort, and how he thuds up during scouts, and how intentional he is, and what type of a note taker he is, and all of those things. And that, it's definitely a correlation. The way he prepares, the way he practices, and he's playing at a really, extremely high level right now for us.
Coach Lashley talked about at the beginning of the season how the freshmen might need to take some time to get used to college football, but that they would help this team later in the season. As you mentioned, Man gets the interception, same with Sile, and then Mark gets a sack. Is that sort of what you envision now that these freshmen are coming through it and contributing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's when you got true freshmen playing snaps on both sides of the ball, it's a testament to one to the guys coaching them, and two to them staying engaged throughout the course of the season. I think it's really easy as a young guy to fall into the mold of, I'm not really going to play, or I'm just going to play on special teams, and then when the moment does come, you're not ready. And so I think credit to those guys for staying engaged and continuing to work and understand that, same thing. We got some older guys. Like I told them, like in the safety room, for example, hey, it's a 6-week stretch. We're going to need all of you. And, J-Mo played 3 to 4 key snaps against Miami. We needed him ready. And then he had to go play corner against Boston College, which he'd never played until last week, Same thing for Abdul last week. Jaden getting some more reps in there. So, is that going to be every week? Maybe not, but you got to stay ready, and then when your opportunity comes, make the most of it.
You've had to, at different times, move Deuce to nickel and play Marcellus and Speedy on the outside, and then, Lamatra gets banged up, so it's been moving around a lot in the secondary. What's that been like for you as a coach, moving those pieces around, and how have you seen those players perform?
Yeah, I think Coach Hunley's done a great job, number one, with our corners, because we've had, 4 different guys, I guess, start for us at corner. So I think that's a testament to the depth in the room. And, I think we get a bad knock from, we didn't play well the first, 4 games of the season in particular. But if you also look at our passing defense efficiency compared to our pass defense, it's, it's nominally different. And that's probably because we see so many passes. We're good at stopping the run, and then, we do play a lot of snaps on defense here. I think we've had the most 4th down attempts the last 2 years in a row against us. I think we're 3 or 4 ahead of the next team, so we're averaging like 3.5, 3.4 4th down attempts. So like those snaps start to add up, is my point. And I think we've really improved and become a lot more efficient on the back end. And so I don't think you can give him enough credit. I don't think he gets acknowledged for that enough. And then guys like Deuce that are coachable, that are smart football players, that have the ability to go back and forth between a position as needed, has been really important. And I think that's something that, as a staff, we've evaluated on how we want to coach the nickels moving forward, just to create more depth. Because to your point, yes, we've had a lot of injuries on the back end this season. That's changed the roster week to week. Early in the season, it was more trying to figure out who were the best 11 and how we were pairing it, because we didn't have a great feel coming out of camp where we were at, and even after week 1 and week 2. And then it was, once that settled in, who's actually healthy to play in the game. So credit to coach and then Coach Bones, who, when Deuce came over to nickel, meets with him a bunch on his own, getting him coached up. Like there's a lot of people in the background that give those guys a chance to be successful.
And you mentioned that the passing defense may not be at the top of the charts in every metric, but one that they are is turnovers. Well, is that something you try and harp on, trying to force turnovers, or is it getting the fundamentals right and then the turnovers will happen?
Yeah, it's both. Coach Messer and Coach Gary are our takeaway coaches. They do a great job emphasizing which drills we're working that week, and it's a mentality, and it's something that has been a part of our culture here, and hopefully we'll continue moving forward, because obviously the ability to get the ball back and give our offense short fields is game-changing type of plays in a game. It is something that we measure. It's no different than third down defense, no different than how many explosive plays we give up a game. Those are big metrics that we look at, because at the end of the day, when you are playing with an up-tempo, fast-paced offense, that there's certain stats that don't matter as much to me, and then there's ones that do, because at the end of the day, if you're efficient on third down, if you're limiting explosive plays, if you're good in the red zone, and we can find a way to get the ball back, then more times than not we're going to be in football games.
Talked about Mark and him breaking through, but maybe not some freshmen, but the two Brandons in the linebacker room have really stepped up. What have you seen from them, and really just now the entire linebacker room working together?
Yeah, well, I think the pain we went through early in the season, essentially playing with three linebackers when Z and Kilgore were not full speed or able to play even, and just having Medlock and the two Brandons, and us trying to find a way to get through 80 snaps with three backers is not easy. But what you're seeing now is we went through that adversity, and now we have a little bit more depth, and I think we'll get Medlock back, sounds like, hopefully for next week. So now you've got all your linebackers back. I think we'll have all of our DBs back. I think we'll be fully healthy for the first time in a long time going into this game at all positions. So now, you went through that pain, you went through some of that adversity, and hopefully we can reap the rewards of being a healthy, fresh team going down the home stretch.
And then last thing, defensive line, they've really seemed to step up stuffing the run now in ACC play. You talked about the fourth down stops. A lot of those have been that 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and short. But what have you seen from them getting after the quarterback and stopping the run?
Yeah, I think I just don't think Coach Tibbs and Coach Dunham get enough credit for the success that we've had here. I mean, when you talk about in the last 3 years we have more sacks than anybody in the country, so everything starts up front. But we're doing it and being, a top 15 to 20 rush defense, the last 3 years, I believe, as well. And so that's hard to do, to be technically and fundamentally sound against the run, but also be able to impact the quarterback. And so, I think first we got to acknowledge the fact that we have two, really good D-line coaches that have done a great job with those guys, new guys each year, coaching and develop them. When you look at where Jeffrey was when he got here in the spring to where he's at right now, to where Terry was when he got here in the spring, where he's at right now, and you look at their growth and development throughout the course of the season, I think it's pretty phenomenal, really. And so I think credit to them, those guys, for working really hard and being really coachable. And same thing with Coach Dunham. I think the first half of the season, Isaiah wasn't playing at a great rate. He wasn't extremely productive as far as sacks and efficient against the run. And really, since after about week 4, I think his attitude and mentality changed, and I think we've seen the production and how he's got a chance to be the all-time sack leader. Here's a pretty cool deal for him. So, and then Cam, obviously he had a great first half of the season, and excited to get him back. Looks like next week. So I think those guys have done a great job with those rooms and developing and mentoring those groups, and we'll need them to play at a really high level. This next one, really these next two moving forward. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
I guess the easy first question is, this defensive line now seems to really be getting after the passer. What have you seen from them in practice that's now translating to in-game?
Just the process. Guys are trusting their techniques, and guys have bank reps at practice, and you got a proven method that works, and the guys are when the lights are on, they're making the plays. They're just falling back on the habits that they created in practice. So it's really fun to watch.
For Jeffrey, comes in as a transfer this year, but it seems like he's stepped up as a leader on and off the field. What have you seen from him in his role as a leader, but also his in-game production?
Just a big-hearted guy who loves to play football, loves his teammates, and really selfless. He hadn't missed a practice. He works his butt off. He's done everything to give himself a chance to be the best version of himself on Saturday. So you appreciate that, and he cares. And when you care, and then you have the work ethic, and great things happen for you. So really proud of him, and just how he's grinded and how it's paid off for him.
Coach Simons talked about how many snaps the defense is playing. What's it like for you when you're trying to rotate these guys in and out, trying to keep them fresh, but they're still producing at a high level?
Yeah, that's what the good teams can do. You can roll, and then there's not a drop off. When you have guys going in the game to just run the defense, you really don't have depth. But when you can rotate guys and they can go in a game and make a play and be confident in themselves, and there's no drop off, then you really have something special. And that's what we have to have for us to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish.
And you talk about the no drop off, no matter who's on the field, in those big third and fourth and short scenarios. It seems like you guys have thrived getting off the field a ton. What does that say about the mentality?
Yeah, at times we joke around here that we've been better at 4th and 1 than we've been on 3rd and 15. There's attention to detail, guys. Just the preparation. Whether it's Coach Simons, Coach Mo. We try to put these guys in the best position, and they understand situational football. Probably the best I've ever been around as far as coaching and just really understanding the situation. We do a great job weekly of having these guys prepared. So it's really been awesome to see.
Coach Lashley's talked about this is the first time in 40 years that SMU has played 6 straight Power 4, Power 5 games. Is it as easy to say that this bye week comes at a perfect time now to reset?
Oh man, we needed it. We needed it, and to be able to have the bye and possibly get as fresh as you can be, and then have an opportunity to try to close the season out in a manner the way we want to. It was right on time. It is what it is. Everybody else is going through it across the country, so that's the hand we was dealt. And hey, let's go play the cards.
And then a couple more transfers, Terry Webb and Shaq Spears. How have you seen them just get better as the season goes on?
Terry Webb flashes, every game, man. He's been very consistent. He's been the most productive in the room, and I love the kid. A guy who. A kid who lost his mother before the Baylor game, still played in it, and you could tell the wear and tear on his body is adding up. But he's a football player, man. He's a guy that, when you're gonna bet on someone, you bet on that young man. Just how the support that he has, and for him to still be where he is right now is really impressive to him, and the inner drive that he has. So we're fortunate to have him, and I think this bye week couldn't be at a perfect time. Get him healthy. And, that way we're not limping to the finish line, that we're sprinting. And then Shaq has done a good job for us. He's just a guy that, man, big-hearted kid, stays in the building, works at it, and he's provided us depth. We've been able to roll constantly throughout the year. And anytime you got 300-pounders, the 3 guys you name, Emba, Terry, Shaq, those are 300-pound guys. You got to have several of them to have a chance, and we have them. So it's my job to make sure I keep it as simple as I can so that they can use their God-given ability.
And coming into the season, people talked about how many new faces were in this defensive line group as a whole, but what have you seen from them off the field, together, that allows them to produce on the field?
I think the number one thing is that we have a standard. You can show these guys videotape of how it's supposed to be done and what we expect. We can pop on the tape and say, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done. And you have guys that have played on Sundays and had opportunities to play on Sundays. And, when you can show that to those guys, they buy into your culture. The culture starts with your head coach, and then Coach Simons creates the culture for how we want to play on defense. So when you have a culture, you're going to see some of the same things happen over and over and over. And we want to get it to the point to where, man, you want to play good football up front, come to SMU, you're going to get developed, you're going to get taught. And it's a system that allows you to use your God-given ability to make plays. So when you have athletic guys with the right culture, with the right system, you expect production to happen. So that's been pretty good for us, and I think the guys kind of follow suit. And it's been good to see them come together. We had to go through some growing pains, but we're here now, and now it's our job to like apply the wisdom that we've learned from those growing pains.
And you mentioned it a little bit. Coach Simon said Turbo maybe wasn't having the best start to the season that he wanted, but he's really picked up his production. What have you seen from him, especially when Cam's been banged up?
Just hungry. Just like, hey, okay, these guys are so resilient. Like, okay, that happened, so what? Keep going, keep going. I mean, and he's one of those guys. You say, hey, man, you could point to Elijah Roberts, and you could say, hey, maybe he started here his senior year, boom, 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 and look how it finished. He's starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So just keep playing, man. Just don't get in your own head. One of the biggest struggles a man has is between his ears. And for him, it was just rep after rep, day after day. If you put in the work in practice, it'll show up for your game, and it's showing up for him. And it's just proud to see that. We needed him to do that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
There it is.
Coach, thank you.
All right, man.
All right. Let's make some pretty similar questions to Coach Tibbs. But
All good.
defensive line got after the quarterback early and often against BC. How proud of that group have you been since the start of the year to now?
Man, super proud of those guys. When you lose two guys who made a lot of plays last season off the edge and interior as well, Isaiah Smith, Cam Robertson stepping up into those roles. And last week we had a lot of guys kind of step up with Cam being out with the injury. DJ Warner kind of coming into his own. Billy Walton had a sack. Trey got some good playing time. Ja'Kai is steady, solid. So I'm super proud of the guys, how they've stepped up this season. When early on, a lot of people thought there was a question mark, especially up front.
You mentioned Cam being banged up. In what areas have you seen guys like Billy Walton or DJ Warner or Ja'Kai improve their game so far this season?
Well, they just knew that they didn't really have time. They didn't have time to wait and develop, and that's the cool thing about college football is somebody goes down, especially a really good player like Cam, it's the next guy up. And Cam's been super supportive. He's been coaching his butt off on the sideline. He's helping in meetings, post meetings extra with the guys. So I'm proud of DJ and Ja'Kai and Billy and all the guys that's played and really stepped up with him being out.
What was it like for you as a coach when Akeel Washington gets hurt? He was expected to be a big-time contributor, but now you kind of have had to change the rotations a little bit and have settled in now. But what was that like early on in the season?
Well, obviously you don't love it. I think he got hurt August 20th, so we hadn't seen Akeel in a game yet. But as a coach, it's really your job. Like, you have to find a way to see what guys do well, see what guys struggle in, and put them in the best situations possible for them to be successful. And early on it was tough, just trying to find the rotation, what guys are better at what. But they've really settled in and done a great job.
Before Cam's injury, on paper and for viewers watching, it seemed like he was playing at a really, really high level. What was that like watching him? How excited are you to get him back potentially next week?
Yeah, Cam's done exactly what we thought he was capable of. The cool thing last year is that, having really a starter A, a starter B with him and Isaiah, with Jafari and E-Rob, we really knew what he could do, but just seeing him actually do it game after game was really impressive to watch. He's bought in, great leader, great for the room, so we're excited getting him back.
And, when you talk about edge rusher, a lot of people want to talk about the sacks, and they've been doing that, but how have you been impressed with them stopping the run? I remember Cam Robertson really blew up that 4th and 1 against Clemson, where he took down 2 tackles. So what's that been like?
Yeah, in the room we talk about it all the time, is that you don't get to rush the passer if you don't stop the run. So Coach Simons, Coach Tibbs, Coach Crum, even Coach Hunley getting the corners in there to fit, like, we're all bought in on stopping the run. So we know it's important because, we say if you stop the run, you can go have some fun. So it's been a huge part of our defense over the last couple of years, and we got to continue to do that.
I've asked every coach, but it seems like this bye week comes at a pretty good time. How helpful is that going to be to, especially when the defense has been playing a ton of snaps each game, to try and, rejuvenate?
Oh, it's awesome. It came at a great time, right when we needed it. We kind of held Cam again last week to get him into this bye week, to get him healthy, get Ja'Kai healthy, DJ healthy, Trey healthy, just overall as a team, very much needed to get the bye week and get ready to go.
And last thing, Turbo gets 4 sacks, ties a program record for a single game. What was that like watching him out there doing his thing last Saturday?
It was awesome. I don't even think he knew it, but you know, he has that nickname for a reason. He goes, he's all out effort. You know, whether it's jetting him up the field or moving him. You know, he got some kind of interesting sacks. I think one of them he dropped in coverage, came out of coverage, got a sack. So I've never seen that, but it was a fun day for him. And you know, I'm his biggest supporter. Great family, great kid, and just happy for what's come his way.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Good to see you.